We're counting down the minutes to the first pitch of today's game.
Yes!
Who's in the starting lineup?
Come on, son. You got to get out there and take the mound. It's game time.
What does the skipper have to say?
It's an attitude. You got to be willing to defend. You got to be willing to base run, or you can't play here.
It's the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook with Tommy Wortz on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, The Fan.
Welcome into the leadoff show live from the 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, The Fan studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. The NL Central Division champs, Milwaukee Brewers, San Diego Padres, game one of the penultimate season series, kicking off against the Padres today. It'll be Freddie Peralta on the mound for Milwaukee, going up against Nick Pivetta of the Padres. Game number 157, 8:40, first pitch from Petco Park in San Diego today. Lineup looks pretty good. What does it look like? Let me tell you.
Looking up, and it is gone.
It's almost time for the first pitch. Let's see who's in today's starting lineups. Brought to you by Lakeland University. Experience it your way. Visit lakeland.edu. It's the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, The Fan.
Thanks again to Lakeland University for being a part of the leadoff show all season long. Experience it your way, lakeland.edu. First up for the Padres, leading off at first base, it'll be Luis Arias. Manny Machado to bat second, play third base. Jackson Merrill in center field will bat third. Gavin Sheets in the cleanup spot is the DH. Ryan O'Hearn in right field will bat fifth. Jake Cronenworth at second base will bat sixth. Bryce Johnson is the left fielder batting seventh today. Jose Iglesias, shortstop, will bat eighth. Elias Diaz is catching. He will bat ninth. Now for the Milwaukee Brewers. Looks a little different today. Christian Yelich leading off. He is the DH. Jackson Chourio in center field will bat second. Bryce Terang at second base will bat third. William Contreras is the catcher batting fourth. Back in the lineup, Sal Frelick in right field will bat fifth. Andrew Vaughn at first base will bat sixth. Isaac Collins in left field will bat seventh today. Caleb Durbin is the third baseman batting eighth. Rounding things out for the crew, the shortstop batting ninth, Joey Ortiz. It is the leadoff show. Tommy Wortz here with you, and pleased to be joined by Uncle Drew today. Drew Wagner in the house. How we doing today, Mr. Wagner?
We are awake.
Yes.
We are barely awake.
I am so thankful that Drew Wagner came here today because Drew was in St. Louis yesterday. He flew first class back to make sure that he could make it here for this leadoff show today. No, he drove.
It was nice that Sparky let me use his private jet.
Yes, the private
limo pickup at Lambert Field. Very nice.
Gosh.
Champagne in the limo.
I just learned today that Sparky was talking about that his wife doesn't like the nickname Sparky, and then I thought, oh my god, like who calls him Steve after all the you say Steven though. You don't say Steve. Yeah. You never say Steve. So I can only imagine Steven in an irony tone or Sparky, and that just made me all weird today. But Drew, you were there yesterday, and there's not a lot of great highlights to talk about. We always go over the game in the first segment of the show. You were there yesterday when the Brewers found out they were National League Central champs. They've done it again now 3 years in a row, 7 of the last 8 years in the postseason. We already knew they were going to play in the postseason into October like a week or so ago, but now officially at the top after the 2025 season.
Yeah, it's impressive. And you're right. Yesterday, there was not a lot to talk about in that game. And listen, I'm going to be honest. I think those guys had the wind kicked out of their sails before the game, learning about Woodruff. Listen, this guy means as much to that clubhouse as anyone that's come through there. We always talk about what Willie meant to the clubhouse, and no doubt Willie had this like infectious vibe. See, used vibe.
Good, yep. Nice term.
But Brandon Woodruff has always been the steady blue collar, show up and do your job guy. He is. You know, if Willie was the heart and soul, Woody is the heartbeat. Mm-hmm. He's the guy that when things are going bad, when things are going good, keeps everyone on the same page. They watched this guy work his ass off in 2000. First of all, they watched him in tears in 2023,
right?
When he found out he couldn't pitch.
Yeah.
They found out how much it meant to him. And then they watched him work all last season rehabbing without knowing he was not going to step foot on a mound at any time. He was there every single day working. Then they saw him come back in spring training and saw what it meant for him to get back on the mound. They saw what he went through in the rehab, and they saw what he did when he finally got on the mound. This guy is the heart of this era of the Milwaukee Brewers. And I get it. The professionals are paid millions of dollars. I think that was just a momentary gut punch yesterday. Finding out that your guy is done doesn't excuse going out there and just showing up listless, but you're going to have days like that. And at the end of the day, they got to have their party, and I think they needed that. I think that champagne palooza is what they needed to reignite the fire after kind of an emotional morning. And not that they needed the reminder, but like, hey, okay, we did this. We still have work to do. We still have things that we want to accomplish. We still have much bigger goals. Let's get back to it. So I think yesterday, all in all, it was exactly the kind of game you expect after news like that. And I think the celebration was good to get everything off the shoulders and lock back in and realize, all right, let's get to it.
Well, and I want to talk more about the celebration for sure, but you're talking about Woody here. And, we heard the sound from him. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. Right. And I don't know, like the 15-day IL stint comes up, and there is the speculation of, well, it gets him like ready for the NLDS at that point. But you were there and listening to him, and I don't know, it didn't sound like I can't wait to be back with this team. When McGill was the guy who was hurt, it was, 15 days. Like, I'm back 15 days. Woody, it was a lot of uncertainty. I know his doctor is out of the country or something right now.
I think there is deep down, there's a sense of, you know what, this is probably it for the year. And who knows, things could change if depending on what the second opinion says, depending on how he feels in 2 weeks or whatever it is, because I know the move is retroactive, depending on how deep the Brewers go, who knows, he could still maybe come back. But I think there's a part of in the back of his head that says, hey, I got a lot further and did a lot more than a lot of people, probably including himself, thought that he might get this year. And as much as it stinks, it was still a pretty good run. You don't know what the future is going to hold, but yeah, there did seem to be in the back of the head a little bit of, and I'm not even going to say resignation, more of contentedness. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, you know what? He said a couple times, there's a hunch that this is probably something that's going to happen. Just because of the nature of the injury and the recovery process. This was always a possibility. He knew that going in. The fact that he got this far and accomplished what he did before it finally flared up, again, unfortunate timing, but that's a hell of a run. Coming off what he did to do what he did, that's a pretty good body of work.
Absolutely. It is the leadoff show. Tommy Wortz, Drew Wagner, talking a little bit. Brewers clinching the National League Central, leading things off with Brandon Woodruff, however, talking about his flare-up and recent journey now back to the IL yesterday. 15-day IL retroactive to the 18th, I believe it was, of September. Drew, like, one more thing about Woody here. Are we almost, at least in your mind, like how you were feeling and seeing and hearing, like NLDS, not likely. NLCS, we can start having conversations with Brandon Woodruff.
Maybe. Again, it all depends on what the imaging shows. Let's put it this way. The further you get, the more of a chance it could happen.
Okay.
Until we hear something from one of the doctors saying, you know what, you got to shut him down. There's always a chance. And the odds of it get better the further along they get and the further removed from this they get. Never say never. Still, I think it's unlikely. Honestly, I think it's unlikely because beside everything else, I don't think they want to push the shoulder.
Right.
He still wants to pitch. They still want to bring him back. I don't think they want to push it. But the further you go, the better the chance is that he might be able to do it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's this whole plan of like Wade Miley, Game 7 all over again for game number 5 of an NLDS series, right, with Brandon Woodruff. But definitely some news that was, real bummer for sure, obviously. And the Brewers, they didn't perform in the game. I mean, there's no highlights to play, right? I mean, there's one sac fly from Churio. However, though, Drew, the Cubs lose yesterday and the Reds take care of business. The Brewers, National League Central champs again. You were in the clubhouse yesterday for that celebration. You talked about it already. They needed it. It felt like after getting that news, the vibe, if we bring it back again, yesterday, we saw all the images, but like, how did it feel really in the clubhouse to be a part of this? For some, it was really weird when Sal Frelick said to me, like, this is all he knows, right? His third year.
That's the thing that's
crazy, right?
It goes back to the fun with numbers I posted today. Milwaukee has had Major League Baseball in 70 seasons, including the 1901 AL Brewers and then the Braves from 53 to 65. So Milwaukee has had 70 seasons of big league baseball. They have made, I got to look it up now because my memory can't even remember.
I believe it was 13 and count it 14 there was something you said with 13 to 14 on it. They have made 13 playoff appearances in their 70 seasons of Major League Baseball, 14 if you include the 1959 National League tiebreaker. Okay, right.
11 of those appearances have come in the last 17 seasons. 7 have come, or is it 8 in the last 9 or 7 in the last 8?
7 of the last
7 of the last 8. It is mind-boggling to me. You know, again, growing up here, watching the Brewers as a kid, I was 4 years old in 82. I remember getting excited in 87. Remember getting excited in 89. Remember getting excited in 92. But that was it. You know, the playoffs were a pipe dream.
Sure.
And you thought just getting there. 2008, you know what? Did not care. Just get there.
Yeah.
That was it. 2011 felt like special because you knew you were losing Prince that year. You had a pretty good hunch that they weren't going to make it back again next year. You didn't know when the next one would come, but you thought it would be faster than 26 years. And it was 7, which is still a pretty long time.
Yeah.
You think about that. 2011, then 2018. That's about the same length of time now as this stretch. It has become the expectation in that clubhouse and in that organization that this team will go to the playoffs. That is the baseline. That is the day one expectation every year, regardless of what moves were or weren't made. And now before people start getting, well, the goal should be to win the World. Yeah, the goal is to win the World Series, obviously, but you can't win the World Series until you get in the playoffs. And you can't get in the playoffs. There are so many steps that go into it over the course of 162 games. But the baseline expectation every season now in Miller Park, American Family Field, is that this team this year, regardless of the personnel, will go to the playoffs. Well,
and now compare this season. Let's just go back the last, the 8 years, right? Since Yelich has been here. And today on Wisconsin Sports Daily, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, 2 to 5 every weekday here, there was a question he had brought up on, does it feel different this year? And you're in that ballpark more than anyone else I know on a personal level. I think that you should be the one to have the best judgment on, does it feel different this year? Because they're going to be in contention. They're 1 win away from tying the franchise record in wins, 2 wins away from breaking it with 6 games left in the year. They got a chance to be the number 1 seed with their magic number now sitting at 3 for that number. If they are they able to get to that number 3 number, they will have the best record in all of baseball, not just in the National League. But there was such a high of highs from May 25th to August 31st, right? That was just an unreal stretch of baseball, maybe the best stretch of Brewers baseball ever, right? And
by far.
70 of those years. Now, September, foot off the gas maybe a little bit because you got yourself a really good position in where they were in the National League Central, and that leaves some people feeling a little nervous because you always hear like the hot team going into October. Maybe the Brewers aren't the hottest team, but overall, the entire season performance, you have to say it feels different this year versus everywhere else.
I think it should. I mean, you go in and listen, we always hear about the national prognosticators never giving the Brewers credit. I'm sorry, those of you on Twitter, I remember a lot of you saying this team, is going to be terrible. They're going to miss the playoffs. They might lose 100 games. They didn't go out and sign anybody. They didn't do anything. Cheap owner. Mark, sell the team. How do you like them apples? I think there does feel different because I feel like that first of all, they exceeded expectations here in town. They proved a lot of people wrong. They proved a lot of outside observers wrong over and over again, because we kept hearing, well, they can't overcome this, they can't overcome that, they can't keep this momentum, they can't sustain this, and they keep doing it. They just go out there and they keep doing it. And that's probably the best tagline for this group. They just keep doing it. They just keep getting it done. They don't really give a rip what others think. We talking to Murph about it yesterday. You have to take the body of work into account. This is not, it's so different in yes, even though there are expanded playoff fields, it's so different in the NFL where it's one game, 1 week, that's it. That can change everything. Even in the NBA, they play half the amount of games and half the league gets into the playoffs. And everything is a 7-game series. Baseball is truly a marathon. It's a slog. It's 162 games. You're going to have bad stretches. The good teams overcome those. The one thing that I keep laughing about is all the people that said they peaked too soon when they were winning 11 and 14 straight. And it's almost like, were you people expecting them to, like, maybe they should have intentionally lost games?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
If you want them to, like, tank and then start winning in September, like, if they would have not gone on those streaks, would they be in the position that they are today?
And I think of, like, the old, saying of, like, you can't win a division in June, but you can lose it or something. The Brewers won the division in June and, July and August, right? I mean, but seriously, to get on that run, like, the Brewers kind of showcase that maybe you can if you're just unbeatable to an extent. I mean, it was like 51-16 over that 66 game or 67 game stretch. I mean, they earned yesterday for sure, because even if it wasn't at this moment, they had earned it over that stretch of games from that beginning part into the first parts of the actual days of summer. The Brewers absolutely earned it. And actually, I want to play this too here. Just Pat Murphy talking about it, because we have heard Pat Murphy, be that stern position in the clubhouse always, and even him living it up a little bit yesterday.
You told this team that they've been resilient, they've been undaunted. To do this 3 years in a row, and now 5 times since 2018, what does that say about the caliber of how you guys have competed?
Like I've always said, it's about the who that's in the room. And these are the right guys. They know how to play, they know how to win, they know how to bounce back. That's what's special.
Well, Yelly's been in the middle of all of that since 2018. You think about Yelly, Woody, Freddie, what they've done to establish excellence and the level of competition that you demand.
Yelly brings that standard of how to play the game. He understands the little things. This team does the little things. And Yelly's the one that sets that tone. He means the world to this team, way beyond the numbers.
How have you relied?
Konnichiwa.
How have you relied on so many different players to contribute, whether it's rookies or your veterans, to step up with so much adversity, Murph?
Yeah, I got to credit the front office, and I got to credit the coaching staff. They just keep getting as much as they can out of each player. It's not a matter of experience. It's not a matter of, whether or not they've done it before. They exude confidence and conviction, and guys step up and do it. The standards are high.
Thanks, Murph, for the time. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
There is Pat Murphy speaking to Sophia. I mean, poor Sophia yesterday. She's got to enjoy it for sure. It's a fun time, but she also was absolutely drenched by the end of it too. And it was just a running gag of
my favorite part of the whole thing is Connor Dawson.
Was he the one ripping a cig? I was
trying to figure out who that was.
Who was that?
I don't know.
That was awesome,
I was trying to figure out who was ripping a heater, and I wanted to bum one.
Yeah.
But Coach Dawes is just like chilling in the very back corner. He's got a beer in hand, other hand in the pocket, just taking it all in.
Yeah.
He's dry as a whistle. Later, I just see him stand in the corner. And I look in Coach Dawes and I talk a lot. Like, we both have the same taste in music. Turnpike.
Nice.
And I just went over to him. I'm like, you're like the pedal steel player of this squad. And like, for those who don't know, like, pedal steel, if you ever go to a show where someone's playing the steel guitar, the pedal steel, that man or woman is fixated on nothing other than their instrument. They don't look up. A nuclear explosion could rip through the venue and the pedal steel player will not look up. And that was Coach Dawson in the middle of all that, shenanigans yesterday. I had a good laugh at
Well, we heard Pat Murphy mention Yelich too in there. Well, Sophia brings him up, and everyone, you know, you can say for sure that Woodruff is a heartbeat, but you know Yelich plays a massive role in this clubhouse as well. And really, if the Brewers want to have this message of, hey, you know, we haven't accomplished anything yet, and this is an everyday type mentality, you got to have a star that also has the flexibility and adaptability in his brain to do that. And obviously, Christian Yelich does have that pedigree to his game. He spoke afterwards as well. Here is Yelich with Sophia.
Christian, this is your 5th division championship since 2018.
Which is crazy, by the way.
Yeah.
Like that comment again. Continue.
What does that say about what you guys have been able to do and accomplish?
Just consistently being able to win games and put competitive teams on the field. And not a lot of different guys, but over the years, we just found a way. And this is what it's all for, right? This is the why and why you grind all year. And the first step for hopefully many more.
When you think about how the season started and everything you guys have had to overcome, what kind of resiliency did you guys show?
Yeah, just said, hey, it's a long season and you got to continue to fight, find ways to win. And I think we knew that we were capable of it. We just had to get healthy and do our thing, and that's what we ended up doing.
And there's Christian Yelich after a little bit of that too. Resiliency, again, if you want to believe that, Drew, what better examples than guys like Brandon Woodruff and Christian Yelich to be at the head of your clubhouse? Two guys who had serious injury problems in past, showing resiliency, still going to show up every day and do your best when you cannot perform, to now when you get to these moments where everyone is performing and you are back at the top of your game, like that feeds a young clubhouse for sure.
Well, and take into account too, like those guys obviously, and rightfully so, get a lot of the credit and attention. But listen, there's a lot of guys on that team. You take away the young core of like Terang and Frelick and Churio and whomever else. How many guys on that roster have been DFA'd before, waived, traded, let go, dumped on the scrap heap, been picked up, ended up in Milwaukee, the organization of opportunity, as Murph calls it.
Yeah.
You know, resiliency is like in the DNA of these guys because they've had to be resilient just to get, you know, to this point in the big leagues. Never mind this point in the season, but just to get in this point in their careers. You know, there's a lot of guys that probably would have just said, well, you know what, I've been, you know, DFA'd 3 different times by 3 different organizations and blah, blah, blah. I mean, look at Quinn Priester.
Yeah.
You know, he was first round draft pick and he got punted by the Pirates and the Red Sox got rid of him. And now here he is in Milwaukee. Look at Andrew Vaughn. You know, he was in the hole, man. Like he was in the tall grass. The White Sox dumped him off in AAA. He ends up in Milwaukee
exchange
and
for a guy who was like,
trade.
get rid of me. Yeah, right.
You know, and here he is now, probably your starting first baseman in the playoffs. Like this truly is the organization of opportunity. When you talk about resiliency, never mind what they've overcome this season. It's easy to overcome what they've overcome this season when you have a room full of guys who have overcome a lot in their careers just to have a season like this.
Does that create a mental cap? Does that something that where you get to a point where it's almost like we shouldn't have even been here anyway, like take it in? Or again, does this year feel different, Drew?
I think it feels different because of last year.
Yeah.
The guys that were around last year, and it's a good number of them. Listen, they came to spring. They won't say it, but I think they came to spring training pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
I think those guys were angry because, and not angry at Devin Williams, like they're not like that, but I think they came with a chip on their shoulder because, first of all, there were a lot of people that thought they were a fluke last year.
Sure.
And that the Mets proved the Brewers are a fluke. And just another,
you need power. You need power.
You need this.
Yeah.
I truly believe that they felt like they should have been playing deep into October. Those guys believe that they were a World Series caliber club last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when their season got cut short and then they heard everything in the offseason about it being a fluke and then how they didn't make any moves, I think those guys came to Arizona with the mindset of, it's time.
Yeah.
And Didn't show it during his first couple games, first couple weeks while they were trying to navigate stuff out and maybe sort through some emotions and whatever. They had a ton of team meetings. But I think once it all clicked and they realized the only way to do this is to put all of our stuff aside and just go out there as a team and do our individual job. It's like being on a construction crew. You guys all have different roles. They all figured out what their different role is and they all excelled at it. And when everyone's doing their job, the house gets built faster. Oh my God, I just turned into Murph.
Yes, I think by 7 degrees removed, like you wanting to become Murph and me wanting to become like you, but when I wake up in the morning, like I want to become Pat Murphy one day too. Like that's not a bad draw by any means.
I don't know why anyone would want to be me. The salary, the glamorous truck.
Yeah. The mustache.
The
Charlie Usen trying to be like you with the mustache. Come on.
Oh, you want mustache?
Oh, you don't know yet?
Oh, man.
Wow.
Charlie, I have more respect for you now.
I got a photo for you in the break here. Coming up, we're going to talk to Austin Herdina over at the Potawatomi Sportsbook manager over at Potawatomi. Get us a nice little parlay for the people today. Maybe have him do a little check-in on Sparky because Sparky's actually down there for Monday Night Football. Over there between Baltimore and Detroit. See if he's caused enough havoc already. It is the leadoff show. Tommy Wortz, Drew Wagner here with you live from the 1250 AM 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
Looking up, and it is gone.
It's almost time for the first pitch. Let's see who's in today's starting lineups. Brought to you by Lakeland University. Experience it your way. Visit lakeland.edu. It's the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, The Fan.
Welcome back to the leadoff show. Other side at 8 o'clock now here. Brewers Padres ahead of us. And the lineup for Milwaukee looks like this. Christian Yelich to lead things off. He is the DH. Jackson Chourio will bat second. Bryce Terang is the second baseman, batting third. William Contreras is catching, batting fourth today, while Sal Frelick is in right field, batting fifth. Andrew Vaughn at first base will bat sixth. Isaac Collins in left field, batting seventh. Caleb Durbin, the third baseman, will bat eighth. Rounding things out for the Crew, it'll be the shortstop, Joey Ortiz.
At the wall, looking up. See you later.
Let's get the latest on today's odds for the game. What's the best way to go? Let's check in with our expert from the Potawatomi Sportsbook to find out. It's the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, The Fan.
Joining us now on the Fan Guest Hotline, Tommy Wortz, Drew Wagner here with you on the leadoff show. Sportsbook manager of the Potawatomi Sportsbook, Austin Herdina, joining us now as well. Mr. Herdina, how are we doing today, my friend?
Very well. How are you?
Very good. Very good. I wish that we could meet on better terms after yesterday. We thought that everything was going to be great. I was going to give you the day off so you can handle all the fun happening over with the Packers. And then they blow it, Austin. What the hell? What was up with that, man?
Yeah, what the heck happened? I don't know. I mean, they were up 10-0. I was talking about, hey, this might be a shutout.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, we gave up a field goal, no big deal, right?
Right.
Then we have that turnover that was just a pass to who knows who. Mm-hmm. I don't even know what his thought was. And it's just, I don't know.
Spiraled out of control from there, right? I mean, it was awful. It really did. It was heartbreaking. And on top of it, the Brewers, they don't handle any business to control their own destiny, but a little bit of a silver lining, officially National League Central champions after yesterday, Austin.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first milestone, right? First milestone is getting the division, getting the playoffs. Now we want to get this number one seed. I believe we have 6 games left, and we need to win 3 of them.
3 is the magic number, at least. Yes. So, you control your own destiny with 3 wins, or if the Phillies lose any games, it'll also add to your total as well. Austin Herdina joining us on the Fan Guest Hotline.
I actually got a question for Austin.
Oh, this is so weird. This is like my two, like, I don't even know where I was going to go with it. I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna pass on it. But I have Austin Herdina and Drew Wagner live at the same time, and Drew usually pops on after Austin. But Drew came in, did the show with me here. What's your question for Mr. Herdina?
What were the odds of the Brewers winning the Central, winning the division, even making the playoffs going into the season?
Before the season, it was about plus 350 to win the division. The Cubs were the favorite. Brewers weren't even the second favorite. I believe Cincinnati was.
Well, and Austin, you told us last week how much money was on the line, like, for the Brewers to win the World Series this year. Was it that number?
Brewers to win the World Series before the season.
Or was it win the division? I can't remember. There was a massive number that I was looking
for. Oh, you're talking about how much we have to pay out?
Oh, yes.
So, Brewers winning the division was about a $200,000 hit against us. If they win it all, it's well over $2 million now.
Yes, I know. That was the number we heard last week. Okay, I was
planning to go down tomorrow with some friends to hit the slot, so don't worry. You're gonna have that covered by my losses tomorrow, so you'll be good. I'll do my part.
Looking at the betting odds today, courtesy of the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Brewers minus 114 on the money line, minus 1.5 on the run line will get you plus 160. And the over-under set at 7 today, Austin. What are you liking today with the betting odds, courtesy of the Potawatomi Sportsbook, to get a nice little parlay for the people going?
All right, so I'm liking the Brewers. I think we're going to ride the momentum of winning the division. Yes, we lost yesterday, but I still feel like the team right now, they're happy, they're excited, they know that the job isn't done, right?
Sure.
So I feel like the Brewers are going to win tonight. Christian Yelich in the leadoff spot is interesting to me. But with Pat Murphy making these comments about how important Yelich is to the team and just how he leads by example, I mean, I think he's going to lead by example by leading off with some hits. So I think Yelich to get a hit. I like Bryce Terang to get a hit. And then I like Nick Pivetta under 5.5 strikeouts. I just don't think he's going to be able to strike out 6 or more guys tonight. So that's plus 450. The Brewers to win, Yelich and Terang to each get a hit, and Pivetta under 5.5 strikeouts.
Plus 450 for that parlay, courtesy of the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Austin Herdina, Sportsbook Manager, joining us over at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Did you get to see a glimpse of our guy, Mr. Sparky there, doing a little Monday Night Football action there today?
No, you know what? I was there early today.
Okay.
I was gone by the time he came in.
I know you're a night owl sometimes, so I was wondering if you were keeping an eye on him for us or not. What else is going on over at the Potawatomi Sportsbook people need to know about, Austin?
I'll tell you what, with football season here, our weekends are getting pretty full. So if you're looking at coming in to reserve space, you want to get a table to enjoy all the games, go to Potawatomi.com, click on Sportsbook and reservations, take a look at the seating chart, choose the kind of area you want. It's a lot of fun. I mean, each Saturday you have baseball, but you also have college football. You got, usually some boxing or UFC, and on Sundays, just more football. Baseball season's winding down. We're in the last week of the regular season. But with playoffs, I mean, it's going to be something where, the Brewers it's going to be a hot ticket for Brewers games. So if you can't make it to the game, come to the sports book because it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and all the home games all throughout the postseason. If they want to get a shuttle, Austin, where's the best place to go for that?
Yeah, so we're still going to be having our shuttles take you to the games. You can get those right from our sportsbook area. So just come and make a bet of $5 or more, or a food and beverage purchase from the sportsbook area, and you're going to get a wristband, and that lets you on to the shuttle. And the shuttles, we have 3 of them that run pretty much nonstop from an hour before the game, and then again after the game until an hour afterwards. And those leave right from our annex area, which is right by our sports book.
So awesome. Plus 450 today on the parlay for the people. That is Brewers money line. Bryce Terang and Christian Yelich each record a hit with Nick Pivetta under 5.5 strikeouts. If you were to go take the shuttle, place the $5 bet, you could walk away $22.50 right back in your pocket. You can make money with a ride to American Family Field. Austin, have a great rest of your night. Thank you so much for popping on a late night today. And of course, go Brewers.
Go Brewers.
There he is, Austin Herdina, Potawatomi Sportsbook Manager over at the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call. That's all. Real quick, Drew, $2 million.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, right?
$2 million.
Wouldn't that be awesome? That would be crazy. That would be awesome.
I mean, not for Austin, but for those winning
but it's a cool number to know out there and have it out for everyone.
I would like to know, and I don't know if that's information that can be divulged, like how many wagers did they take on the Brewers winning the division or winning the World Series?
Yeah, I mean, they already paid out a couple $100,000. They could pay out a couple million.
We'll have to ask Austin that how many bets there were on people.
Thousands, maybe tens of thousands, right? I mean, with that number, that's a crazy number. Drew, on the other side, let's talk a little bit of minor league ball because that just wrapped up. We got to get to our Building a Winner feature presented by Ironworkers Local 8. We'll wrap things up, finish it off on what else to expect from San Diego today. It is the leadoff show live from the 1250 AM 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
Looking up, and it is gone.
It's almost time for the first pitch. Let's see who's in today's starting lineups. Brought to you by Lakeland University. Experience it your way. Visit lakeland.edu. It's the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on 1250 AM and 1057 FM, The Fan.
Welcome back to the leadoff show. Tommy Wortz, Drew Wagner here with you live from the 1250 AM, 1057 FM, The Fan studios powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Brewers lineup, in case you missed it earlier in the program, game 1 against the Padres to wrap things up in San Diego. Christian Yelich, the DH, will lead off. Jackson Chourio is the center fielder, batting second. Bryce Terang at second base will bat third. William Contreras is catching and batting fourth today. Sal Frelick in right field will bat fifth. Andrew Vaughn at first base will bat sixth. Isaac Collins in left field batting seventh today. Caleb Durbin at third base will bat eighth. Joey Ortiz, the shortstop, rounds things out. He'll bat ninth for the Crew.
The key to building a winner in baseball is a strong minor league system. Who are the names we should know? How did they play in their last game? Ironworkers Local 8 brings you building a winner. Be a cowboy of the sky. Apply now at iwl8.org. It's the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on 1250 AM and 1057 FM, The Fan.
Yes, time for another Building a Winner feature presented by Ironworkers Local 8. Thanks again to Ironworkers Local 8 for being a part of the leadoff show all season long and all minor league season, as it is now wrapped up. All of the Brewers affiliates officially done, and it's over just like that. It was a fun ride yesterday. However, Nashville wrapped up their season. They end on a victory, 11-4 over the Louisville Bats. Jared Oliva, 3 for 5. Ethan Murray, 2 for 5 in the game. Daz Cameron, a homer and a double as well. Nick Cale went 4 for 5, had a homer in 5 RBIs in the game yesterday, too, as the Nashville Sounds 85-63 wrap up their season. The Biloxi Shuckers 74-64. Timber Rattlers 56-74. The Carolina Mudcats 68-60. Is that the best 68-60 high A team they ever had? Like, they just were decimated, obviously, by promotions along the way. That was a very exciting Carolina Mudcats. That was juggernaut
insane. For the last season of Mudcats baseball. They got a treat, and it was a shame those guys couldn't finish out the year down there. Going a little playoff run. I think they did go to the playoffs with Biloxi.
Biloxi did, yes.
But now that was probably, you're right. That had to be one of the best teams in Mudcat history. They had some absolute ridiculous talent down there. Made and Pena, and who else was down there? Was
Batanti was he was having a great year.
It was stacked.
They started with Blake Burke too, and then
Burke was there. Yep.
Burke, just tore it up the back end of the season too. After getting promoted through all the way up to Biloxi. Once he got to Biloxi, his OPS was over like 900 over a 35 or 40 game stretch. Like he figured it out too. Had more homers in that time frame than he did when he was with the Timber Rattlers, like to mostly start the year. Like that was an awesome year all around in high A. The Brewers finished with the 8th best organizational winning percentage in baseball. It's something that the Brewers obviously take a great deal of pride in. We updated with their
matters.
The Dominican Summer League, especially if you're going to not be the team to or have the capabilities to sign the Juan Soto contract.
We just talked about, 7 times in the last 8 years and 4 in the last 5 division title and playoff appearances. That's how you do it. To have a constant. This goes back to what David Stern said in his introductory press conference and hammered on it over and over again his first year or so here is, the goal here is to, acquire, draft, and develop young, controllable talent and eventually make it a pipeline of young, controllable talent. That's how you build a winner, by having good prospects at every, you're going to have positional battles. You're going to have guys that are roadblocked. But if you've got a legitimate stud at most positions at every level of your minor league system, you continue being a competitive team at the big league level. You continue making the playoffs. And again, before people start jumping up and down about the whole, you got to win the World Series thing. You can't win the World Series if you don't get in.
Yeah.
And you don't get in unless you have a pipeline of young talent, of top prospects, well-developed players. And the Brewers have that probably as good as or better than anybody in baseball right now, because pretty much everyone they call up ends up contributing.
Yeah. One more thing before we move on to keys to the game tonight. Jesus Made obviously gets promoted multiple times this year, heads to AA Biloxi, hit a homer in the playoff series with them. Do you see, Drew, an avenue similar to a Churio, not necessarily as quick pace, but an investment, right? Like they put in 10 years into Churio or 8 years into Churio with his deal and just banked on it. And it worked out really well. He's going to be on the team for a long time, and he's a very productive player. Well, Made has pretty equal hype. It feels like he's the number 5 prospect in all of baseball. He's the youngest player in AA. I think he was the youngest player in single A when he was there too.
Maybe when he gets a little bit closer to knocking on the door,
okay,
you start doing that, because let's face it,
the time frame's going to be similar at this point.
He's probably going to spend a little bit more time in the minor leagues than Jackson did. I mean, that unless he has an absolute just monster of a season next year. Who knows? He could. I think the Brewers' priorities right now are going to be exploring extensions for the likes of Terang and Frelick.
Oh, I love that.
I think that's probably their top focus this coming off season is seeing if it's possible to work out extension with the guys that they do have. And then as Made and Pena start to get closer, when it starts to become it's probably going to be next year where you see your first taste of them, then I think you start working on stuff with them, because you got to have your top guys locked in, and that's first. Plus, remember, you've got Cooper Pratt who's sitting right ahead of him in terms of shortstop. So they're going to give Made a little bit of leeway, a little bit of run there in the minor leagues. With Churio, he kind of forced the hand. He was just so ridiculously good that it just made no sense to keep him down there.
Yeah.
With Pena and Made, they've got more room, because you've got Terang at second. Yeah, obviously Ortiz is a bit of a question mark at shortstop, but you've got Pratt knocking on the door probably next year. So
makes complete sense. Yeah. This Building a Winner feature presented by Ironworkers Local 8, building Milwaukee's future one beam at a time.
How does the crew win today's game? Who needs to step up? Let's find out with the keys to the game. It's the Leadoff Show, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, The Fan.
Keys to the game, how we always wrap things up here on the Leadoff Show. Drew, we were talking about the lineup, and I know we don't speculate about it, but we can still comment that I think we're in agreement. This is one of our favorite setups that they have. And I point to the top 3, right? It's Yelich, it's Churio, it's Terang, 1, 2, 3. I look at the keys to the game today, and it's got to be top down in the lineup where you look. I know the bottom part of the order, when they're on, that's usually the best part for Milwaukee. But when you stack the top 3 like that, it's hard to not be excited about tonight's game.
Yeah, I really like it. And it tells me that Murph, here's the thing. So we were talking about this off air. People are wondering why Murph isn't giving a lot of guys a days off today. And I know my little internal text message with noted experts, Jack and Kurt, were like, oh, why is he, what a shot. Like, well, why would he rest the guys? Like, 1, you're still playing for the number 1 seed. That's not locked up yet. 2, the Padres are in the thick of this. They're starting the night 3 games out of the division lead. So they're playing for something, and shouldn't surprise everyone that Murph is one of those guys that respects the matchups late in the season. You're not going to go in there and roll over. And let some team that's playing for something have an easy path. So this lineup looks to me like, you know what? I'm going to stack the top of this order. We're going to try and jump on this guy early, get a lead, blow it up, and get our guys out of there.
All gas, no brakes. That's today's keys to the game as we wrap things up. Drew, thank you so much for popping in today. Had a blast, my friend. We don't do it enough, and it's always a fun time when we do.
Is that a Wilmer Stingers?
This is, yeah. I mean, sting them, right? Kurt Hogue knows what I'm talking about. He listens to every show for sure. I mean, once he heard me call him out on the radio for his prospect rankings, which I'm going to do some this week. I haven't decided on a date, but feel like after covering the minors all year, like I owe the people a top 15 or a top 20 of some sort.
We should do tomorrow's show live from his patio.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Just don't even tell him. Just show up and set up.
Show up at the Kurt Hogue house. Yeah, I love it. I love it. We'll discuss off air. It is the Leadoff Show. Brewers Padres. That's coming up next here. Freddie Peralta going up against Nick Pivetta. penultimate series starts in San Diego today. We'll see you guys tomorrow night live from the 1250 AM 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. And don't forget, send them home.